having trouble in your life with a mom, dad, or wife? Would you like to let your inner feelings flow through a knife? Or a sword or a mace? Fucking stabs to the face. Fucking genocide plagues by the bottle or the case. We got suicide machines and doomsday devices. Our self-mutilation costs pennies by the slice. If you might like a spear that they use to stick Christ, see our discount blasphemies and antique rights. You know a friend or a foe you want hung on a cross? We can boil him up in oil or we'll freeze him into frost. And for a very low cost but a limited time, we can chisel off the features if you're paying for your life to be smashed. Your family catches damages for free if you sign a contract with the devils of disease. And the only thing we need is an arm and a leg. We can make the magic happen, all you gotta do is bet. And we don't really need to know the why, but we're asking you how many people.
What's up? This is the Burn Rate Podcast with me, Kyle Oren. In this episode, I invited hip-hop producer Michael Manix Ruby over for some quality storytelling. Before this podcast, I only knew of Manix through Facebook. I had been friends with him for the last couple of years, and I just started noticing that every single post that he was throwing up there was more interesting, funnier than the last, until I was like, I gotta meet this guy. So if you find Michael Manix Ruby on Facebook, check out his page. I'm telling you, it's some good shit. It's really funny and ridiculously interesting. If you ask me, he's the needle in the haystack. So if you need to know what a heart attack feels like while driving, and you happen to be a fan of Eminem and or LSD stories, you're definitely gonna want to check out this podcast. Thank you, Manix, for doing the show. Good times, good times. Anyway, let's do it.
I'm young at heart, but I'm saying my fucking body is fucking, it's at least 45 fucking years old. You know what I mean? I had a heart attack at your age. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, that's nuts. I wouldn't mind hearing that story a little bit.
Yeah, well, that sucked. It really sucked. I finally, I moved out here, and after all this shit in California went south on me, and my kid was still living with his mother and his fucking stepdad. And I was working for his stepdad growing pot in Humboldt County. And it was summer 2012. I managed to, get my ex to give me a couple of weeks with him. And we moved out. He came out here, spent a couple of weeks out. Went to like a Tigers game, fucking some cool place to eat, blah, blah, blah. And fucking had just dropped him off at the airport. And I was driving back from the airport, and I had to come out. I was gonna come out and see if my buddy wanted to have some breakfast and shit like that.
Right.
So I was down off of just got off of 8 Mile off of 94, and all of a sudden I get this pain in my chest. I thought I was fucking shot. I swear to God, my first instinct is holy shit, somebody just fucking shot me.
That's what it feels like.
That's what it feels like.
Wow.
And I mean, I'm driving, and I'm like, I see there's no fucking blood, and I'm just like, I'm having a goddamn heart attack. And I'm driving on 8 Mile. It's fucking 9 o'clock in the morning. And all of a sudden, within 2 minutes, my arms are fucking numb. And I'm still driving. So I'm trying to fucking maneuver. I see a CVS, and I try to get over to the parking lot so I can just stop, call 911, all this shit. So I get to the parking lot, and by this time I'm in massive pain. It feels like I've been hit with a shotgun blast to my chest.
Wow.
And I'm trying to dial my fucking phone, and I got an old BlackBerry at this point, and remember the button? Yeah, the button would just go after a fucking 6 months. The button would just stop. So I'm fucking numb hands, fucking just horrible pain in my chest, trying to get get the goddamn button to work. Finally, it clicks on the emergency thing, and I'm like, fuck, like this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm at 8 Mile and Gratiot and having a heart attack, blah, blah, blah. So then I go out, and normally I keep pain pills in my car. I always have ibuprofen, Advil.
Any heart troubles in the past
No.
at all? Nothing, just out of the blue?
No, there was literally no signs before this. I've got type 2 diabetes, and I'm unmedicated. I mean, my priority has been my son. My son's been type 1 since 2009.
Okay.
He almost died on me. There was no signs of that either for him. He was sick over a Christmas weekend, and he'd been with my ex, who's a pediatric nurse, and she's like, he's not eating. He's got some kind of stomach thing, blah, blah, blah. And I hadn't seen him in a week and a half. She brings him to my door, and he looked like he dropped fucking 15 pounds.
That
And
water
his
weight.
skin was just gray.
Oof.
And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, did you take him to a doctor or anything, you know? And she's just like, no, he's just not been eating. He's not feeling good. A couple days later, he's literally in his bed dying from this shit. So I call up his family doctor, like rush him to the doctor. Fucking doctor doesn't even know what's going on. Finally, I'm like, after like an hour in the doctor's office of them like just bumbling around, I call EMTs on my own and I'm like, my son needs to get to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. They walk in the door and the first thing out of their mouth was, anybody check his blood sugar? And fucking, I look at his doctor with fucking daggers coming out of my eyes like, really? Like, you guys didn't even do any of this stuff at all. When they checked his blood sugar, it was like 500 something. Like, you drop like lower than like 100 or you get over like 300, you're talking about death. So it's a serious deal, with especially with a type 1 diabetic. So while he was in that and stuff like that, we got him. He was in ICU in a coma for like half a day over this shit down in San Francisco. They had to fly him out to San Francisco with a life flight, which cost me like $90,000. Apparently nobody in Eureka, California has type 1 diabetes.
Right.
So they don't have any specialists, none of this shit. So if you get fucked up, they got to fly you down to San Francisco and it's going to cost you $100,000. So I tested myself while I was down there, and like everybody else in the room had normal blood sugar and mine was like 300. So I'm like, looks like I got type 2 diabetes, you know.
Right.
But in the years coming, and like there was no signs of anything really. And then that day I dropped him off at the airport, hour fucking later, just literally out of the fucking blue, boom, heart attack. And it was massive. Like when I got up from the whole surgery and everything, my doctor was like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have lived through that. It's a miracle that
or
you did.
drove through it.
Yeah, I managed to drive to a CVS, and you know, I always keep like, you know, some Tylenol, Advil, stuff like that. I'm always having aches and pains and shit, so I always keep that stuff in my car. And for some reason, I was out of fucking aspirin, and I remembered, like, if you're having a fucking heart attack, take some fucking aspirin. So I'm like, fuck, it's the one goddamn thing I don't have. So I go into CVS. It's a summer day, and it's fucking, it's already, at 9 o'clock in the morning, it's already like 100 goddamn degrees out. I'm sweating my balls off. And then I'm sweating even more because I'm literally fucking dying at this point. I walk into CVS. I like walk down the aisle. I grab this gigantic bottle of fucking aspirin, and I'm just shoving. I took a handful of aspirin. I must have taken 30 fucking aspirin at one goddamn time. And then I walked to the cooler section, grab like a fucking bottle of water, and I'm just like, just guzzling it down. I go back out to my car. I wait for the EMTs and shit. Luckily, I wasn't that far from St. John's, and that's also where my wife used to be a pediatric nurse, where my son was also born. I used to live right around here. I used to live off of Novara. It's right off Kelly.
Okay.
It's like between there. That's where all this shit. Do you know my story at all?
That's what we're getting into it, man.
I used to produce Eminem. I was like his first producer. It was me and he got his start through me and my brother back around 88. My brother just brought him over to the house one day and he was just fucking rapping and shit.
Did you go to Lincoln?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I graduated in 89. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
No shit. What year?
94.
Oh, no shit. Yeah, I graduated in 89. I went from like the middle of my sophomore year till graduation. I remember him. He used to be, he went there for a couple of years, and we used to pick on him.
That's what I heard.
He was a fucking nerd. I mean, we were all fucking nerds, but I'm saying, you know, some nerds think they're cooler than others and shit, but he would just be in the hall, and he was obviously a fucking poor kid. I was a poor kid too, but he was even worse off. And I didn't, you know, when you're in school, you don't give a fuck. You're just trying to be cool, just to get through the goddamn
just trying
day.
to get to
lunch. I didn't think I was tough. I didn't think I was fucking actually cool or any of that stuff. It was just, you know, it was a defense mechanism to try to fucking just get through.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I started working out because people would fuck with me. And it's like, I never really got my ass kicked, but then I started working out. By fucking junior year, I'm benching like 300 pounds.
Damn.
And fucking nobody was fucking with me.
Right, I bet.
But we would fuck with him, man. He'd come in school. He'd be wearing like fake gold chains around his neck and shit, and he'd be wearing the same clothes he wore 3 days ago and stuff. And so we were kind of ruthless to him. And then, to my surprise, one day I come home and he's in my fucking house, and I'm just like, "The fuck? What the fuck? You're hanging out with this guy?" I'm saying to my brother and shit, and he's just like, "Yeah, dude knows how to fucking rap." And he was like 15 years old at the time. And I heard him rap. And he was better at 15 years old than literally everyone that was already rapping and had a career.
That's nuts.
You know what I mean? It was amazing. I mean, the shit just fucking poured out of him.
Right.
Better than shit that guys who are fucking busting their ass trying to get a gold record, you know?
Right.
And so after a while, it was like, yeah, you know, maybe we can do something with this fucking guy. You know, I was working hard. I was trying to rap myself, and I sucked at it. You know what I mean? So
wait, you were older than him, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I'm probably about a year and a half older.
Okay.
I can't remember his exact birth date, but I'm probably around a year and a half, something like that.
I knew he went to Lincoln, and I knew he dropped out before I got to Lincoln.
Yeah, he never. I think 1990 was the last time he tried. He never got out of his freshman year, but it wasn't for. Once you started to know him, you realize it wasn't because he was fucking dumb or anything. It was because of his fucking home life. His mom. If you'd ever seen anything about Debbie, it's fucking. Everything you see is true.
Right.
It's 1,000 times worse.
So he's like downplaying it.
Oh yeah, I mean he is bad. Like everybody's giving him shit about him fucking dissing his mom, and Debbie is fucking insane.
Wow.
She's a pillhead. She's a narcissist to the nth fucking degree. It's amazing how bad. I mean, it's amazing that she had 2 children that lived beyond, like their toddler years, because I don't know how she managed to keep 2 fucking kids alive.
Right.
It's that bad. I know Debbie. I know Marshall. I know Nathan. I know Kim. Like I've known these people for the last fucking 30 years almost. So, that whole thing is fucking with him and his mom. I mean, she deserves every bit of vitriol against her. She's a terrible, terrible fucking person. She was kicking him out every couple of fucking days. I mean, the thing is, like, people wonder, like, where the fuck did you go? And it's like he had his grandmother's house, which it was like a little bit past my house. I used to live off of like 9 Mile and Hoover. I lived right down the street from Lincoln High.
I was
lived
at
on Dodge.
10 and Hoover. It's where I was pretty much lived by the Ritz. I was.
So you were kind of between the whole like center line, whether you were going to go to center line or Lincoln.
No, it was Lincoln for some reason. I don't know why it ended up being
there was
Lincoln.
weird area because I remember just if you lived across Van Dyke.
Yeah, then it was center line.
Like if you lived on the fucking the west side of Van Dyke, you had to go to center line. What street did you live off of?
I was off of Marigold. Remember Frenzy's restaurant?
Oh yeah,
that was my street.
That's where my buddy lived off of Warren Boulevard. We lived in that house over there for a while.
Yeah.
That's James Chaos Kid Deal. He was one of the guys that was in our group for a while. He came up. He's one of the guys who was one of the biggest influences on Marsh.
Okay.
Marsh learned how to write songs from that guy. I mean, he was doing good with lyrics, but James came in and he had a whole. I mean, they both learned from each other, but James had a whole style of like songwriting that Marsh really needed. Right. And that's the thing that he's got now. That I mean, if it wasn't for James, I don't know that he'd have that. Right. He'd probably have, other people writing choruses for him and stuff like that. But James came in, and I mean, he was doing okay with that stuff. But James really came in and really influenced him. He committed suicide a couple of years ago. Had some serious mental stuff and shit. So rest in peace, James. Still think about you, buddy. But that house there, like on Warren, man, that house and stuff. Did a lot of stuff in there, man. I lived there for a while. That's where James bought like some professional equipment. because I had bought stuff years ago when I didn't know what the fuck I needed. Okay, DJ USA and those guys sold me a bill of fucking goods. I mean, the stuff was cool, but it wasn't what I needed. It wasn't studio shit. But from there, I learned. And James was the first guy to actually buy real shit, like a sampling keyboard and fucking, an outboard mixer and stuff like that. And I basically just fucking commandeered that thing from him. He had the thing for like a year and a half, and he wasn't doing shit with it. So I'm like, we moved back in together, and we were living off of Alter Road and Mac.
Right by the tap room.
Weyburn, yeah, we were right by
My
there.
sister lived off of Weyburn, I think, at one point. Yeah.
Everybody. You remember Charm Farm?
Yeah.
Those guys lived.
My sister's
the
like really good friends
block.
with us.
Yeah. We lived off of Weyburn. We were literally butted right up. We were like 2 houses off of Mac.
Okay.
On Weyburn.
That's funny.
Well, fuck. I mean, it's not that big a fucking town. I mean, I run into people all the fucking time. I run into people in other places who lived in those same areas and shit. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
I know. Going
like,
to California, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I meet people like the best people I met in California, man. They were all from the Midwest.
Fucking Michigan.
Midwest, Chicago, New York. I mean, they were all. Those are the people. Those are the kind of people I get along with. Like, fucking political, fucking minded hippies and shit. Like, they hated my guts, man. Like, they just. They had an agenda, and they didn't fucking like me, man. But the whole
That's how I feel about the St. Clair Shores crowd.
Oh fuck, dude! I lived there for a while too. Me and Marsh and my brother, DJ Butterfingers. He was the one. He was the DJ. It was just me and my brother and Marsh, and we were the New Jacks first, and then we were. Fucking Basement Productions. And then Basement Productions was kind of an amalgam of everybody. We all just kind of were just doing everything together. And then we kind of broke off, and Soul Intent was, again, just me and my brother and Marsh. And my brother is DJ Butterfingers. He's a special kind of dude. I mean, he sounds exactly like me. We've got a lot of the similar tastes, but he's like me with the fucking knob turned up and then broken the fuck off. Right. He comes in and he will fuck your shit up. You know what I mean? Like, not even trying to. He's a fucking force of nature, man. Definitely one of the greatest hip-hop DJs who's ever fucking lived.
Yeah?
Without a doubt. There was nobody in Detroit when we were coming up, late 80s, early 90s. There was nobody who could match him. There was guys who were good, but by the time we had come into our own and like just knew we were good enough, those guys fell the fuck off. They just stopped doing stuff. I mean, the only guys I knew, the only DJ I even fucking can think of who could really DJ like my brother was Duncan Hine. I mean, there's only a few fucking really good DJs coming out of Detroit, and most of them were white, and I knew all of them. Like my brother and DJ Steezo were the 2 top fucking hip hop DJs ever out of Detroit. And there was nobody. I mean, there were guys who were good, but those guys, they went the extra mile and then some, and they developed different techniques, and they perfected already established techniques. I mean, we're talking guys who were just badass fucking hip hop DJs, like the guys who just don't exist anymore.
Right.
But those 2, I mean, I would put those 2 up against almost everybody in the nation, in the world. There's guys out there that are great. I mean, there's guys who are. I mean, there's at least a good half a dozen of just magnificent DJs in the world who can't be touched.
Did you ever get into DJing?
No, surprisingly not. I mean, I bought all that fucking equipment.
Right.
Like, I still have 2. I've got Kid Rock's turntables from fucking,
nice.
From the original fucking Rebel Without a Pause tour. Just for some reason, like I can fuck around and do shit in the studio that sounds decent, but I couldn't do a DJ gig. I couldn't go to like the DMC World Championships and fucking, and impress anybody whatsoever.
I messed around a little bit with stuff like that. A friend of mine, Mike Brousseau, ran into some money, and he wasn't supposed to spend any of it because he was living at his mom's. and he bought 2 Techniques, 5 crates full of fucking records,
yeah.
a disco ball, lights, all the shit. I put it up in my room in my dad's house, screwed it to the ceiling. Like, ceiling was only like an inch over my head because it was one of those attic fucking rooms. And I put the fucking I hung a disco ball from it. And fucking, I was like fucking with Farside, fucking with Cypress Hill, you know, the Goats and all that shit.
The Goats.
The Goats.
You brought up the fucking
The
Goats.
fucking Goats.
That's one of those records I've been trying to hunt down.
Yeah, right.
Because there's so much shit that came out in like the fucking mid 90s that so many people were like, man, you gotta fucking hear this record. That was one that were you a purveyor of Record Time at all?
Oh yeah, I'd go there.
I know Mike and I know Harry from there. Me and Mike became fast friends because I came into Money at like around 89 and I was there every other fucking day spending
how could you
like
not, right?
$400 or $500 goddamn dollars on money. So instantly Mike's like, this guy's great. Spent my money up pretty quick, and I would come in and just trade in half the shit that I bought, the year before. But Harry took a little time. He was always skeptical of us and shit. But he put me onto that Goats record and was just talking about it like it was the best fucking hip hop record that had ever existed at that point.
Yeah.
So that's one of those ones I've been trying to fucking hunt down, and I can't find a fucking copy of it. Wow. I found through my secondhand store rummages, I've found the case 5 fucking times.
That album would get me as fired up as any Rage Against the Machine album.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is too, like I'm very open minded for music. I love music. I want to like it.
The competition thing will definitely close your mind. Something fierce, dude. And that's what I run into with the hardcore scene, the metal scene, the punk scene. If you're not exactly what they think you should be, they'll motherfuck you all day long.
Absolutely. It's being young. It's like right around like 21, 22 years old, man. Things opened up tremendously for me for music. Like I already loved music, but I was so like, I don't know if I want to listen to that. I don't know. Like I'd been a closet Beatles fan until I was like 21. And then all of a sudden everybody else started loving the fucking Beatles, so I could come out of the fucking closet.
Beatles closet.
I could come out of my Beatles closet and go, oh shit, they're cool now. It's cool to like the fucking, because when I was fucking like 16, you couldn't like the fucking Beatles.
Death in the case, so I stray away from any normal rank or file or formal category. My fairy stories go beyond that extra mile, and yet we always end up bloody, fucking gory or obscene. My son was raised with 1,000 ways to assassinate the new king and fuck the queen.
I'd met a girl. We were working at Gilbert's Lodge off of 9 Mile and Harper. You know the place?
It just keeps burning down for some reason.
Yeah, fucking Louis, man. That motherfucker. But like I got Marsh a job there years before, and then I quit one day. And then a few years later, he got me the job back because he'd been staying there. He was there forever. And then like there was like a fucking New Year's Eve where I was like, man, I don't want to go to this fucking job. It's going to be hell.
Yeah.
And we didn't go. So it was like me, and I met my ex-wife at this spot. I met her there. We instantly hooked up and started fucking around. And I fell for her fucking hard. And then we started just hanging out. We were still working together. It was a couple of months, and then we both knew this fucking New Year's Eve thing was coming up, and it was going to be a fucking nightmare.
Right.
So, and she'd had a fucking dream. She's fucking prescient. There's been at least a dozen instances where she's had this dream like months ahead of time, and then we're right smack in the middle of it, and she fucking remembers the fucking dream, and I'm like, fuck, that's right. You told me this shit. So she's telling me about the shit that goes down on this fucking night, on this night that we're supposed to fucking work. So I'm like, I'm remembering it, and I'm like, fuck, dude. If we go, we might die if we go to work tonight. So we should just quit. So I'm like, it only makes sense. We're not going to work. Fuck this. Let's take some acid. Let's fucking hit the town and shit. And we did. We took like a couple hits of acid. We hit the fucking town. We like went out to like Hamtramck and shit. And then when we're in the middle of this shit, we're peaking. We're fucking driving through Hamtramck. It's a fucking cold, snowy night. And we're driving through Hamtramck trying to look for this fucking bar. It's me and my ex-wife and fucking Chaos Kid. And He's in the back. I'm obviously passenger. She's driving her fucking 83 fucking Firebird and shit. And she fucking freaks the fuck out. We take this wrong turn. We're like down by like this factory area. It's like midnight in Hamtramck. And she freaks the fuck out. She's like, shit. She's like, you remember that fucking dream I told you like 3 nights ago about fucking the guy busting in the car and like pulling me out? And like raping me and killing you guys. Like, this is the spot. Like, I remember the spot. I'm like, instantly, I'm like, I like grab the fucking wheel. I'm like, hit the fucking gas. And we're fucking tearing out. We fucking like tear the fuck out of this thing. And then we finally find the fucking bar that James tells us there's this thing going on. We're fucking high as fuck, dude. We're fucking peaking like a motherfucker.
Great. So she would have dreams of her being on acid, which is even
she would have dreams
greater.
Regardless. And I swear to God, there isn't one of them. I can't think of the details at this point. She had at least a dozen dreams where they just came true. Well, there was one where she remembered that we were gonna fucking. We were in jail in this fucking like hick town somewhere. Blah 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 blah. Few days later, we're fucking heading up. We had moved down to Florida, Pensacola Beach, Florida, to open a restaurant with her dad. And we're going back to Michigan to like get the rest of my shit out of the Novara house and fucking move back. So we're going to like spend a few days like hanging out, blah, 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 get our shit, and then we're going to go back to Florida. And we're fucking flying. We're driving down whatever fucking highway. We're in Tennessee. And she's doing like 35 miles an hour over the fucking speed limit. And I keep looking over at her like, fuck, stop. We're going to get fucked. We're in the South. We're going to get busted.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, sure enough, the last time I told her at least a half a dozen times to slow the fuck down. And I look over and we're doing almost fucking 90. And I'm like, what the fuck? Are you trying to get us fucking in trouble? I say this and instantly we pass a fucking Tennessee state trooper. Whoop, this motherfucker is like on top of us. I'm like, fuck, this is it. We're going to fucking jail. And she's like, yeah, I remember this dream. Here we fucking go. We're going
so
to
she
fucking...
knew it was going to fucking happen.
She knew it was going to happen. She's still
just
speeding
because
her
she dreamt
fucking
it.
ass off. I'm like, and at this point, there had already been at least a half a dozen dreams that had come completely fucking true already. And I'm like, fuck. Let's be a little more careful. Maybe we'll take this route instead of this fucking route. It wasn't great. No, it was not fucking great because I'm on acid. We're on acid as we're driving, too. And that's the strongest shit I've ever taken in my life at this point. Oof. It was great. Up until the point we're getting fucking confronted by a state trooper with a 44 fucking Magnum on me. It was awesome. We get pulled over, and he's just like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to write you a speeding ticket, blah, blah. And I'm just like, he's not going to write us just a speeding ticket. We're going to fucking jail. We got a little bit of pot on us, not much. And it's like, we got this like, Camel used to have all these promotions, t-shirts, blah, blah, blah. We had this fucking container that had an ashtray inside the lid. So there was like a little shallow ashtray, and then you had the container underneath. So we kept a little bit, we had our rolling papers and a little bit of pot, and our acid, and our scale. Yeah. And then we had the fucking ashtray, which had some fucking stems and seeds and a few roaches in it. And we're on acid. So we're fucking get pulled over. I'm just like, fuck. This guy is a cartoon character. He's like fucking Yosemite Sam, dude. He's like 4'11" with his fucking trooper hat on. This motherfucker comes up. He's just like, and he's got to be 75 years old. And I'm not exaggerating at all.
In your favor.
That's what we think.
Oh, okay.
We're thinking he's just a good old boy, just gonna be cool, blah blah blah, and he's fucking like, yeah, I'm just gonna write your ticket, blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, don't let him search the fucking truck, like it's our right, it's like blah blah blah, just be cool. So he comes back and he's just like, you don't mind if I search the truck, do you? And she's like, well, no, it's fine, and I'm just like, fuck. Oh. He comes over to my side of the truck, and by this time, I'm gone. I'm beyond peaked. It's the strongest shit I've ever had in my life. I couldn't remember how many fucking fingers are on each hand.
Right.
So he's like, yeah, what's your name? And I'm just like, Michael? And he's like, okay, blah, blah. He's like, where do you work? And I'm just like, And he's like, get out of the truck. And I literally just stop, I pause, and I just look at her like, you motherfucker. And I fucking get out of the truck, and he's like, put your hands on the hood. It's 111 degrees out.
Right.
And I'm no exaggeration, it's 111 degrees out. I remember this in my mind. It's 100. That's the temperature without the fucking heat index.
Right.
So it's at least 111 degrees out. We've been driving for 5 hours in this truck under this fucking hot ass sun. He tells me to put my hands on the fucking hood, and I'm like, I can't. The hood is 350,000 fucking degrees. So I'm just like, I can't. I'll put them behind my head. He's like, put your fucking hands on the hood. And I'm like, and I'm literally like this because I can't do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's fucking shaking. He's just like, fuck. And he goes for his gun. He pulls out this fucking gun that's half the size of him. Dude, the fucking barrel was like 19 inches long. And he's just like, motherfucker, get your fucking hands on the hood. I'm like, holy shit, we're gonna fucking die on the side of this fucking road in Tennessee. We're fucked. Then he finds the pot. He doesn't even look in the container. He just sees some seeds and stems and a couple of tiny roaches, and he freaks the fuck out like he's caught the criminals of the fucking century. And we're in Franklin, Tennessee. A little side note. Franklin, Tennessee was once owned by Hank Williams.
Okay.
It's a nothing town. It's literally
Why did
your
he own it?
studio is bigger than this this town. I don't know, because it was probably cheap. He probably figured
why not?
he could own it, be mayor, and do whatever the fuck he want. Because if you know anything about Hank Williams, he was he loved heroin and whiskey. So he probably, it was probably a fucking, one of those, his own safe house. So
Makes sense.
actually, Tim McGraw owns it now.
Okay.
Yeah, for whatever fucking reason. Maybe he grew up there. I don't know. But anyways, so we end up going to fucking jail. Damn. And we're fucked. Like, as soon as we get in jail, we know we're fucked. Like, I already, man, we're going to prison. We got acid on us. We got pot. We're in nowhere in Tennessee. Down there, you're talking like 15 fucking years for that shit.
Probably at least.
Yeah. So we had a scale, we had acid, we had pot. We're thinking, we're totally fucked. We're going to go to prison. So I'm instantly like, fuck this. I'm going to play the tough guy role right off the bat. No one's going to get in my ass. There's none of this shit happening. So I'm in the holding cell, and I'm already like, hey, asshole, give me a fucking cigarette. And this guy's like, I don't have... Give me a fucking cigarette! And this guy's like, all right. Yanks one out of his fucking shoe and shit. It's fucking flat, I'm just like, give me a goddamn light, Like, I'm not even trying to fucking have it. I'm still young and in shape at this point. I could still kick the shit out of just about anybody else at this point. So this motherfucker, gives me a cigarette, shit. I'm just like, fuck, I'm not having it. I'm already just like, fuck, anybody who fucking looks at me sideways, I'm gonna fucking take their head off. And then, luckily though, my father-in-law, Alvaro Mendez, one of the greatest guys I've ever known. One of the most brilliant interior designers. If anybody out there in fucking podcast land, Alvaro Mendez, I believe he's still living in Florida somewhere. Brilliant interior designer. He calls these fuckers up. She gets a hold of him, and he calls them up, and he's like, if you don't fucking let these guys go, I'm gonna come down there and I'm gonna fucking tear you a new asshole, or whatever he says. Yeah. And he's very good at that kind of shit. He's not a big guy. He's a little guy, but he's he can fucking. He's very menacing with the words and shit. So he fucking talked them into like just basically fucking letting us go. Like, we didn't pay a fucking fine. We didn't do any. We were in jail for like 2.5 days, and then they basically just fucking let us free. And the only reason we got out of that shit was because of my father.
Because of interior design.
That guy was amazing. That's the guy who I opened up the restaurant with in Florida.
Can you see that? Rick ricochet is zipping. Keep an eye on your mail for a box that's ticking. Just kidding, cause we only use digital switches. He's Johnny Rotten and I'm Sid Vicious.
I did one hit of orange mushroom. It was like there was one summer. It was like the second time I ever did acid. And this motherfucker hands me this orange mushroom shit. I was fucking not working at all. I hadn't worked in like a fucking year. 19 years old, 91. This motherfucker, I'm just fucking, I'm looking for a job at this point. This guy fucking is like, hey man, you do acid? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And this guy just hands me a fucking hit of this orange mushroom. And I'm just like, I'm in a spot, like I'd been walking all fucking day long. I lost my license. I have no car. Things were not looking good.
Yeah.
And I'd been like, for at least a year, I'd been looking for a job. I was walking like 7-8 miles a day just looking for a fucking job. This was during the fucking Bush fucking, it was just bad. Things were really bad. And I stopped and I got fucking like, had gotten an application from I think fucking like Hardee's at like 12 Mile Van Dyke. And as I'm walking out of there, this motherfucker's like, hey man, what's up? And he looked like the biggest fucking hippie you've ever seen in your life. I mean, he's wearing a fucking tie-dyed fucking shirt. He's got this dirty fucking hoodie wrapped around his waist, fucking boots that looked 150 fucking years old. Like, he looked at him taking a shower in a decade. I mean, it was fucking incredible. Like, you've never seen a guy like this at this point
Beautiful.
ever, unless you lived in like fucking San Diego or something.
Right.
And this guy just, out of the fucking blue, just fucking, hey, what's up? And I'm already like, I'm like through the parking lot and up on fucking Van Dyke. I'm already walking to my next destination. And he's just like, hey. So I like walk back to this motherfucker.
Right.
And he's like, hey man.
Why did you walk back there?
I was fucking out of it. Like, I didn't even know. I was kind of just out of it. I was just in a fucking euphoria, kind of, just because I literally, at that point, I'd already walked probably about 5 miles that day. So I walked back to this guy, and he's just like, hey, man, you do acid? And I'm just like, sure. And he just hands me this fucking one hit. And he's like, you ever heard of orange mushroom? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, dude. Like, everybody's on this right now. And I'm like, okay. And he convinces me to take it right there. He fucking hands, and the funny thing is, too, is he's got this gigantic fucking bottle of Everfresh cranberry juice. Everfresh out of Warren, Michigan. Fucking hands me this bottle of this cranberry juice, and it's like, it didn't even look like he'd even drank any out of it. He fucking just gave me this shit, and I'm dying. I'm like, I haven't had a drink in 5 fucking hours. He's just like, yeah, man, take this. And I'm like, I put it on my tongue. I already know the routine. Take it in a little bit. He's like, here, man, wash it down. And I'm like, this guy must have been a fucking mirage. This goddamn bottle of this cranberry juice was colder than anything I've ever pulled out of a fridge in my life. And I was like, oh, God bless you. I pop this fucking thing open, and I fucking swallow half of it, and I'm just like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. He's like, dude, it's all yours. And I'm like, oh my God, like, who the fuck are you? Like, the giant bottles.
Yeah.
It's not the small ones. It's the fucking gigantic bottles. So I'm like, oh man, God bless you, man. I hope fucking you get everything you want in life. Like, that's how I feel about this guy. I'm like, awesome. Thank you. 2 minutes later, I'm like walking from this Hardee's at the Tech Plaza up to the fucking Buddies. That's at like old 13 Mile. So I'm like, by the time I hit the fucking doors, I literally open the doors, and all of a sudden it's like, like this fucking thing just, I swear to God, it's like 5 minutes later from taking this fucking acid, and all of a sudden I'm like, everything is just like fucking hot pink and fucking golden fucking rod. Everybody looked beautiful. Like the fucking man, this fat fucking asshole comes up to me, and I'm instantly like, hi, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, he's not even being a dick to me. He's already like, oh, hey, hi, I talked to your cousin, and he said blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, shit, no way, blah, blah, blah. And fucking
Everything's
instantly,
a little slowed down.
this motherfucker, like, he's like, I don't know if I have a job for you, but, I just actually, there's a pizza that we fucked up on, and here it is. And just gives me this fucking, like, Foursquare fucking Buddy's pizza out of the blue. Like, I get a fucking free hit of acid, a fucking gigantic bottle of cranberry juice, and a free fucking Foursquare within the space of, like, 15 fucking minutes.
Wow.
Honestly, one of the best days of my life was just this day. Like, I had horrible months of just looking for jobs and just nothing happening and everybody being a dick to me, and just I had no money for food, for drink. I mean, I would be walking like 6, 7, 8 miles a day and not have a fucking drink. You know what I mean? Like,
that's nice.
And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, all this shit happens, and it's like, it's just fucking glorious. Jack White is one of the greatest artists in the history of art.
Manix.
Absolutely. You got like 4 fucking White Stripes albums that are better than like most of the records that have ever been fucking released. I don't care who the person is. Yeah. I care about the fucking art. Don't confuse the art with the artist. And as far as art goes, you can't poke any holes in it. Jack White is brilliant. He's brilliant, period. There's no other way to describe him. You can call him an asshole, but by you doing that, you obviously don't get it. Fucking Jack White is absolutely fucking brilliant.
I'ma take it to your face like that. I'ma take it to your face like that. I'ma take it to your face so that you know.
When I'm feeling like one of them dumpster sluts, y'all best to be backing up off my nuts. I'ma swing my shit till my shit gets stuck. I'm stabbing anybody, I do not give a fuck. Now I can't really say all what I just seen, so I wipe my face and my saw blade clean. So I wipe my face with a rag full of gas, so lines and chalk. Dead bodies don't talk. When a dead body walks, I aim for the head. What I said, it's another bitch covered in red from a psychoholic future shock. Crazy as hell on stage, come and handle my balls and cock. Smoke pot and come watch me bust out a load on a crusty old sake. I can't stop till everyone dies. I'ma try to put a guy sideways in your brown eye. Never let a lemon learn shit from a lime. What I find is my mind stays close to the pork rind. Wrong kind, blindfold and hog tied to a pole. Fuck writing stupid little rhymes about pussy holes. I sure as fuck take the axe and give that neck 500 whacks. And if that cop sees what I done, I give that piggy 501.
Like that, y'all, you don't stop. I'ma take it to your face so that you know. Like that, y'all, you don't stop. I'ma take it to your face so that you know. Like that, y'all, you don't stop. I'ma take it to your face so that you know. Like that, y'all, you don't stop. I'ma take it to your face so that you know.
I speak out with the shovel, sneak all the way around. Found brains on the walls, blood stains on the ground. I got bones in my teeth, so I need me a toothpick. Poking dead people with a stick. I'ma shout about it proud how I'm the 667, and heaven don't seem to be the place where I'm headed. I'ma bet you the farm against harm that I cause. Most of man's rules and half of God's laws. I'm sick as Bushwick's limp dick of a lunatic. Suicidal tendencies and everybody's true to it and doing it for real. Slide on the steel, lie and conceal. Now hide how you feel. I tried to believe, tried not to take pleasure in the skulls that I peel. Keep scalps like a treasure in the chest, made of breasts and a pair of rib cages. Plagues full of shit, fists full of outrages. Follow your pain when I fall on your grave, and the name on the stone washed out in the rain. You were lame in your life, now death don't remember. Now death don't remember where the fuck I'ma send ya. So pretend you don't see me eating those guts. Pretend you don't see me drinking that blood. So I kiss fist him upside the cranium with that aluminum baseball bat. My name is
Like
Mud.
that, y'all, you don't stop. I'ma take it to your face so that you know. Like that, y'all, you don't stop. I'ma take it to your face so that you know. Like that, y'all,
Sometimes it's just nothing more satisfying than to just
like that, y'all, you don't stop. I'ma take it to your face so that you know.
A fool boy doesn't know from common courtesy. Bet your mother never taught you about the birds and bees. A glass of burgundy will put your nerves at ease and make the lady spread the petals like a fleur-de-lis. You're not the chancellor, and this ain't Nazi Germany. Committing perjury with every word you speak. I'm the last to hear, but the first to see. Deal with matters of the utmost urgency. I'm quick as Mercury, strong as Hercules. So don't jerk the leash and hurt the beast from the murky deep. Cause you will certainly be sent to the infirmary to get prepped for surgery for burns in the third
I'ma
degree.
take it to your face like that, y'all, like that, y'all. I'ma take it to your face. I'ma take it to your face like that, y'all, like that, y'all. I'ma take it to your face. I'ma take it to your face like that, y'all, like that, y'all. I'ma take it to your face like that, y'all, like that, y'all. I'ma take it to your face. I'ma take it to your face. Like that, y'all, you don't stop. Like that, y'all, you don't stop. Like that, y'all, you don't stop. I'ma take it to your face so that you know. I'ma take it to your face so that you know. I'ma take it to your face so that you know. I'ma take it to your face so that you know. Like that, y'all, you don't stop.
Thanks for checking out the show. Manix!